Hey everybody, back in the T49, once again platooned up with Primor, he's still running his Arty, and I'm on Muravanka. Now, for this map, I decide I'm going to try something a little bit different to what I do in most of my tanks. I do this occasionally with mediums, but not very often. Instead of heading either through the forest or onto the ridgeline, or the area overlooking the ridgeline up in the northwest corner, I decide I'm going to head into the sort of open field just west of the edge of the forest. Now, this is about as close as you can get to the old 8-line ninja strategy, which no longer works because there's now enough hills in the forest that obviously you can't see over them. But from this position you can generally see everything going into the forest, and you can usually see them once they get there as well. It is an exposed position. If anything pushes on you or pushes into the center of the town, you're in deep shit. But as long as you aren't pushed, it is a fantastic spot. And although this may not seem like a particularly good game just from watching the actual video, once you check out the Postgames and see how much spotting damage I pulled from this position, you'll see what I mean. I light all these guys as they're going in. Now, it's very tempting to use my gun here, but that would give me away and almost certainly get me killed. What's more, the side of an IS-3 is made of spaced armour, wide tracks, and bullshit, and so it probably would be pointless anyway. Now, I do decide I'm going to fire here, because I figured I could maybe put some damage on that E75. Back off knowing I'm lit, and tool around in the little bowl here for a minute, before selecting another bush. The slight berm I'm sitting on gives me some cover to play with if the enemy begin firing at my position, but not really as much as I'd like. Take another shot at the E75. I was hoping I could finish him off there. Should have used an HE round, and I probably could have finished him had I used an HE round. Instead, my heat round bounced straight off of his side armor. So now I go back into passive scout mode. I want to sit and wait. I want to see what I can see. I want to help Primal make those big damage hits that he needs to get his own missions done. And one lands right on the on the 110, not T110, and knocks off half its hit points. We got a stock pattern to my front. I was hoping he'd peek out again, so maybe I could get some damage of my own. But he backs up, and it's not worth pushing him, it's too risky. And it looks like he might be hiding from the Lorraine behind me to my left. T-54 Lightweight is actually in the forest, in the low ground there, using his gun to mess with those enemy tanks. Now, I'm kind of tempted to get in there myself, but I just want to wait a little bit longer. The longer I sit here unspotted, the more spotting damage I'm likely to rack up, the less likely I am to get popped by something I didn't even realize was there. And I'm also kind of worried that the second I do pull out, this pattern's going to pop out and plug me. The T-37 though is the big threat. I'm worried he'll come and counter me if I charge in to try and shoot those guys in the back. The Lorraine has already clipped and heads off to the west side of the map to reload. West is going pretty cruisy at the moment. There's not really much there from the enemy team, whereas most of our team is pushing through there quite well. We're light in forest, it looks like we're going to need some help there, and so finally I decide now's the time, I'm going to use my gun. So I pounce in here. Unfortunately, my lack of gun depression means I have to come right over the hill to get a shot off, but I do get one off, and it finishes off the IS-8. Oh, sorry, the 110. Reading is hard. T-37 gives chase. I know he's probably going to finish me here, but thankfully he's a terrible shot. He's just been tracking me over and over. But death finally comes in the shape of a T-54 Lightweight. So not very much damage, only 831 on the meter. Maybe someone spotted, maybe not. Depends what happened with that shell that I sent towards E75. But I was able to remove a 110 from the game. I was able to deal with the T-37 as he chased me. And more importantly, I was able to give my team spotting for 5,000 some damage. which, if I'd been on a light tank 15 for the T28 concept, would have given me the mission. Unfortunately, I wasn't on the light tank 15 for the T28 concept. I think I was on the capping mission. Again, it's a real pain to get. Once I get that one, things should become a bit easier. But I'm pretty close to getting the light tank missions done. I've only got 3 left. So I've got to cap out, or defend my own cap for 20 cap points, I think it is. Top my team for XP and survive the battle. Surviving the battle is the hardest part of that one. And then, of course, light tank 15 itself. Spot and or deal 5,000 damage for my team. Once that's done, I have my light tank missions done, and I can focus on getting medium tank 15 done and knocking over some of the heavy missions. I'm thinking that, unlike the Stug, where the arty missions were actually really easy and the light tank missions were the sticking point, it's going to be the opposite here. The light tank missions I knocked over in the better part of an afternoon, and the arty missions are just going to be an absolute nightmare, particularly as someone who doesn't really play arty and doesn't have very many high tier arty at all. I had to buy the S51 just to try and complete some of the missions for the Stug 4. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle to get them done. I will get them done eventually, but in the meantime I'm probably going to have to unlock the T28 with the extra tokens you get from completing secondary objectives for the final missions, which is what I did with the Stug, and then I went back and finished light tank 15 later, so it's not too big of a deal. I will eventually have to go back and do it because I want to pick up as many crew members as possible, but the main sort of priority right now is tanks. I really want to hurry up and get my T55. Now, unfortunately for me, my 5,000 whatever it was spotting damage wasn't enough to carry the team, and despite Prime Law's best efforts, the rest of our tanks just fell apart. It looks like we had this, actually. It really did look like we had this. We'd quite comfortably won the west flank, but then suddenly our team just melted. GW Tiger P there that I'm spectating turned just the wrong direction before the AMX came around the corner and missed a chance at a shotgun there, unfortunately. But you can't win them all, especially in a light tank. Still happy with my performance there. Maybe if I'd been a little more patient, or spent a little longer passive scouting, or, you know, picked a different route to try and flank all those tanks in the forest, maybe I would have survived, or maybe I would have got a bit more damage in, but at the end of the day, I did my job and then some, and, you know, there's only so much I can do in a light tank I'm still getting acquainted with. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and as ever, I'll catch you on the next one.